Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today's project is to fix a bail on a Captiva. So this is the Captiva Live Liner 5000, and it has a non-functioning bail. It just sticks there. So I went ahead and I ordered parts from mysticparts.com. I have a replacement bail arm, a spring, and a pivot. And those are the three pieces that make up this this bail. So what I like to do when I replace a bail is I like to take the bail wire off, and I've already done that. It's sitting here to the side. And when I take it off, I like to keep the order of the bearings and the format there so that I know how to reinstall that. And then I like to put them into a parts tray. So just to expedite that step, I've done that. And now I'm going to remove the rotor. Now you can do it on the reel if you like. To me, I always have trouble. The thing starts to slip as I try to put pressure on it. So to me, it's just as simple to pull the spool, take the click rotor and the shim washer off. Next, you want to remove the little hold fast screw. And that screw is holding the rotor nut so that it doesn't turn. And then you can grab the... So I just had the misfortune of having my camera battery run out. So let's make sure that we got to the right spot here. So I was explaining that you take the rotor nut off in a clockwise direction. Just get it started with your wrench and then you can pull it out. And then you can remove the rotor. Now that's always easier for me than trying to dance around and try and get the bail set while it's spinning. So let's open up underneath. You'll see why I ordered the parts that I did. And what we have here is we have a bail spring, a carrier, and a pivot arm. And then we have a bail arm. And we have a disconnect here in that pivot. So I don't know what's caused this to jump, but I'm looking at the bail arm and it doesn't look like that circle where the pivot arm is going to sit is as tight as it should be. So I ordered the replacement arm. Which has a very crisp hole. I ordered the replacement pivot arm because these tend to bend when you get into a sticking situation. That's what seemed to have happened here. And I ordered a replacement spring because the spring appeared to be bent as we were looking at all of this. So I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to remove the older stuff. The carrier is in good stead. Now this has two sides to it. I'm not sure which side belongs out. It was in this position, so we'll try that first. So to set the bail, you move your bail trip lever up top. I like to take a little bit of grease and put that onto the stud of the pivot arm and then seat that into the carrier. Okay, once you get that little stud in there with the grease, turn it around so that it's facing, get the spring on, get the little block on, and then we're kind of ready to install. We want to take the block, and we had that little narrow channel down like that. Then you want to just kind of line it on an angle so that you can see it's going to go in straight. Push down and then just lock it over your stud there. Get that screw in. And then a moment of truth, we'll turn it and we'll see if we have a functioning bail system now. So when we press down, this should just kind of go into that channel, just like that. And you'll notice the lever came down and then when it trips, it will shoot right back up. So that's how you set it. We'll do it one more time just for those that want to see it again. Let's take this off. Let's remove that. That is a spring, so keep it close. So you want to set your bail pivot arm into the hole in there, and I'll use the old one as an example. There's a hole on this side. You want to make sure it's in there. You want to press up, make sure that your carrier is up on this. Then you want to take your assembly, put the spring over the leg of the pivot arm. If that doesn't sound something of a misnomer or something, put the carrier over that, and actually the carrier is going to ride the other way. There's an indentation on this side which belonged on the outside. Line it up so that it is straight, so that when you press down you're not moving that carrier too much. Then press it and just bring it over the top of the stud, and then put your little carrier screw in there. And then you can test. You want to make sure as you get everything tightened down before you go too much further that it's working, and there you go. That's your arm, and it will trip back when that trip lever is hit. I don't want to push too much on that because it's springs and the like, but this little carrier arm then goes on, our cover. And I guess that's why the indentation is there. There's a flat-sided bump here, so that's going to hold that in place, so it was put on correctly there. And this has two little studs that go in it apparently to flop. Let's get those in. There you go. That's correct. Just going to line that hole up now. Bring this back on, then we'll show you how to reinstall the rotor and the bail wire, and we'll all have learned something from this. Alright, so the bail wire comes on. Remember, I took this to make sure that everything was right from the install standpoint. I'm going to remove the screw. I'll hold that piece out for a moment. On this side, well, we still have a loose carrier arm over here. I don't know why that is. Let's take it off first, find out what's going on here. I guess it was just a tight fit. I don't know if somebody loosened that up when the bail started to fail. There's a way to try and make this thing work better, but regardless, we'll get the carrier arm set properly. Make sure that it's moving well. Back it off a little bit if you've over tightened. There you go. All right, the bail goes in with a little stud, so it rides, kind of has to go in that way and then turn. And we have our assembly here, that's the line roller. And we had that little metal washer. I'll put the line roller in backwards. There we go. Line that up. Get your screw started on the opposite side. Tighten it all down. Put some oil onto the line roller. Make sure that you got an operational bail, which we do. Grab your reel. Going to reinstall this now. Remember, this came off in a clockwise direction, so it goes on in a counterclockwise direction. And I like to start it by hand. Might be hard to see, but I like to start it by hand because I don't want it to become a problem if I cross thread. You can feel it right away. And you can grab your wrench to make the final turn or two. In this case, we're all right with an open face wrench. Sometimes that lip on the rotor cup is too much. You need to use a socket. That's a nice reel. All right, flip. There you go. Nice little bail trip going there. Just go finish by putting the set screw in. Get my screwdriver to start that. That'll keep that rotor nut from spinning. And we have the click ratchet, which tells you that the drag is running out. And we have the little shim washer, which keeps the right height on your spool. And we have our spool. Tighten that down for the drag. So there we go. That's how you do a bail. So there could have been 2 or 3 points of failure for this bail. The one would be the bent spring. The second one could have been the travel arm. I'm noticing that that seems to be a little bit worn there. And the third part, and most likely what was happening there, is there's a lot of play in this side post here. And I think what may have happened is as that loosened, it pulled it out. And the replacement bail arm fixed that by getting a nice tight lie there. So that's how you do a bail on a Captiva. And it's not uncommon to do that with other types. This is a fairly straightforward setup. Sometimes this piece is in plastic. Sometimes there's a different carrier on the spring. But for the most part, typically what you're going to find on a bail arm that uses this type of a setup is a hole here for the pivot arm. And then you're going to find a leg on that. That's what I said, oxymoron or something. You'll find a leg or an arm that goes into the spring, and then you'll find a nesting point inside the carrier here. So I know I haven't said that yet, but thank you to all first responders that are helping us through this pandemic. We certainly do appreciate all you're doing to keep us well and healthy. And if you're not a first responder, please listen to them and stay safe. And if you've enjoyed the video, please like it. If you want to see more, please subscribe. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.